Authorization process. Emergency Relief Fund reimbursement for local agency projects. This is one of the last few videos in Emergency Management's Emergency Relief Programmatic Agreement series. These videos teach you what to do to apply for and become authorized for federal and state reimbursement for funds used to repair or restore right-of-ways after disasters. This video continues your learning journey around disaster fund reimbursement. Introduction. This video introduces you to the process required for receiving authorization for disaster event projects. This is the second of two high-level processes that must be completed to receive reimbursement funds, site approval, and authorization. Completion of this authorization process is required if your organization is to receive emergency relief fund reimbursement from FHWA through SALT. DDIR Recap. During the very first video of the series, we reviewed the process to follow to apply for emergency relief reimbursement. This procedure only applies to projects being reimbursed with FHWA, which include SALT funds. 1. Each process in the overview mentioned that a detailed damage inspection form was required to officially document the event and your organization's application for reimbursement of emergency relief funds. 2. A later video taught you how to complete the DDIR form. Remember, your organization's DDIR form must be completed and submitted within 11 weeks of the event to your DSAE, eventually making it to MnDOT Emergency Management. Without this, your expenditures will not be considered for reimbursement. 3. DSAEs collect all DDIRs related to the same disaster in their district. 4. They review the DDIRs for errors or lack of required information. Their approval of the DDIR is also approval of permanent work concurrent with emergency restoration. 5. DSAEs submit the event's DDIRs to SALT, which hands them off to Emergency Management. 6. Emergency Management collects all DDIRs for each disaster. They review them for completeness and adherence to FHWA requirements and then submit them to FHWA. 7. After FHWA approves the DDIRs, the authorization process can begin. Remember, an approved DDIR is not federal authorization. DDIRs prove that a damaged site exists and is your organization's application for federal reimbursements. Authorization means that funds are actually dedicated to the damaged site. This video outlines the additional steps needed to receive federal authorization and, ultimately, reimbursement from FHWA funds. Authorization Requirements. Keep these in mind as you pursue reimbursement authorization for your roadways after disaster project. Whoever owns the road is responsible for completing the DDIR for each site. The local agency engineer or their designees sign as the owner of the facility. The DSAE signs for the state and forwards it to SALT. Remember, the functional classification of road for this type of project must be major collector or above. The majority of emergency restoration work is done before being formally authorized. Construction engineering can be authorized with emergency restoration. Emergency restoration work must be completed within 180 days of the event to be reimbursed 100%. Otherwise, reimbursement is 80% or zero after 2 years. ER projects must complete the authorization process within 2 years from the start of the event to receive any FHWA reimbursement. The DSAE must assign 2 state project numbers, SPs, one for emergency and one for permanent projects. Before permanent repairs done concurrently with emergency restoration, PRCER, or permanent repairs are started, complete Section 106, Section 7, Animals and Plants, and Army Corps of Engineers approval. Remember, the full, completed NEPA document must be submitted prior to obtaining authorization from FHWA for any permanent repairs, including PRCER. Permanent repair work cannot begin until the project has actual federal authorization. Now that you're familiar with the authorization process requirements, let's review the 3 authorization subprocesses: emergency restoration, permanent repair performed concurrently with emergency restoration, and permanent repair alone. Authorization process, emergency restoration. There are 3 sub-processes within the FHWA SALT authorization process. They all begin and end similarly, but the middle steps are different. This is the authorization process for local public agency emergency restoration. 1. FHWA approves your organization's DDIR and sends it back to MnDOT's Emergency Management Office. 2. Emergency Management uploads the approved DDIRs into eDocs and notifies SALT and the DSAE that the approved DDIR is available electronically. 3. The District Chimes Coordinator retrieves the electronic document and enters specific DDIR information into Chimes. 4. The DSAE requests a federal project number from the MnDOT Office of Financial Management's PAU. 5. This video outlines the authorization process for non-trunk highway projects. 6. The DSAE emails SALT that the project is ready to be authorized. 7. SALT completes Federal Aid Authorization Form and submits project into FEMAS for FHWA approval and authorization. 8. FHWA approves and authorizes the project for emergency relief reimbursement. 9. PAU puts together the authorization message, attaches the approved Federal Aid Authorization Form, and emails it to SALT. 10. SALT informs the DSAE that the project is authorized. 11. The local public agency, your organization, submits payment documentation to the DSAE. 12. The DSAE conducts a final inspection. 13. Federal reimbursement is made and the project is closed out. Authorization process, permanent repair concurrent with emergency restoration. Here's how the permanent repair authorization concurrent with emergency restoration process works for local public agencies. You're already familiar with the steps 1 through 3. Let's continue with 4. The DSAE requests a federal project number from the MnDOT Office of Financial Management's PAU. 5. This video outlines the authorization process for non-trunk highway projects. 6. The LPA completes the full environmental clearance, Section 106, Section 7, and Army Corps of Engineers approval. 7. Then it completes the repair project. 8. SALT completes the Federal Aid Authorization Form and submits it to the Project Authorization Unit. 9. PAU reviews and enters project into FEMAS for FHWA approval and authorization. 10. FHWA approves and authorizes the project for emergency relief reimbursement. 11. PAU puts together the authorization message with the authorization date, attaches the approved Federal Aid Authorization Form, and emails it to SALT. 12. SALT informs the DSAE that the project is authorized. 13. The local public agency, your organization, submits payment documentation to the DSAE. 14. The DSAE conducts a final inspection. 15. The project is closed out. Last, let's walk through the state aid permanent repair process. Authorization process, permanent repair. Here's how the permanent repair authorization process for local public agencies works. You're already familiar with the steps 1 through 3. Let's continue with 4. The DSAE requests a federal project number from the MnDOT Office of Financial Management's PAU. 5. The LPA completes full environmental clearance, NEPA, at the same time. 6. This video outlines the authorization process for non-trunk highway projects. 7. The LPA completes the project plans and emails its project submittal to the DSAE. 8. The DSAE and SALT complete the Federal Aid Authorization Form and submit it to the Project Authorization Unit. 9. PAU reviews the Federal Aid Authorization Form and submits it into FEMAS for FHWA authorization. 10. FHWA approves and authorizes the project for emergency relief reimbursement. 11. PAU puts together the authorization message with the authorization date, attaches the approved Federal Aid Authorization Form, and emails it to SALT. 12. Project delivery informs the project manager that the project has been authorized for emergency relief reimbursement. 13. The letting date is set. This completes the emergency relief reimbursement authorization process for local public agencies. Summary. This video introduced you to the process for local public agencies to receive authorization for emergency relief reimbursement for disaster event projects. This video relayed the authorization process your organization must complete for its roadway disaster recovery projects to receive reimbursement funds. There are two high-level processes that must be completed: site approval and authorization. Completion of this authorization process is required before the FHWA considers the project eligible for reimbursement. This video is complete. Thank you for watching.